This movie tells a story about a retired gunslinger, Colton Briggs, who has to face the consequences of his past when the son of a man he murdered arrives to take his revenge. Briggs must take up arms once more after his wife is killed and is joined by his young daughter. First of all, this movie is really mediocre. The movie is really bland, as the script takes little to no risk while offering very little in terms of suspense, thrills, wit, or surprises. The plot is really cliché and lacks originality. Right from the get-go, you know exactly what kind of film you're signing up for. It's nothing you haven't seen before. The narrative has played out in films and on television for decades. Briggs, his daughter, the villain, and everyone else are very boring characters, and no one truly stands out when it comes to their performance. The dialogue is really bad, and the relationships fall flat. The characters give long and dull monologues that really slow down the pace. The cinematography, set designs, action choreography, and editing are all mediocre. The landscape doesn't add much style either. Bogged down by too much monologuing and underwhelming performances, this movie doesn't offer genre escapism, dragging along with a tepid take on the wariness of a hardened killer returning to power. Most of this movie are routine and often unconvincing, from the cleanliness of the costumes and sets to the haphazard staging of the few shootouts within the story, to how easily Briggs goes about funding his targets on account of plenty of convenient incompetence. There's actually a dark and potentially unsettling character study within this material. However, instead of digging into those themes, this movie falls back on a series of cliches and the relative safety of its formulaic plot. The lack of comic relief makes the film too dry, tedious, monotonous, and dull as well. Even the presence of Nicolas Cage is not enough to save this movie. Since the script lacks any kind of depth, it only hinders his performance, making him come off as wooden. It also doesn't help that most of the action sequences are bland. A mixture of lackluster camera work and questionable editing choices keeps every gunfight from being good. At times, it even feels like the action is happening for the sake of action. The movie presents the finale as though we're supposed to be emotionally devastated by what happens, but again, the events are easy to predict and therefore become dramatically flat. Overall, this movie is a waste of time. We do not recommend this movie at all.